Good, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Greater Entrepreneur Success Group. I am happy and excited that you're taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on this beautiful Monday morning. So excited for our guest speaker, Coach Chris, and all the information that he's going to share. So you know how we do. Because Chris does not know everyone on the call, and I don't think everybody knows everybody. If you could, please give us, no, I'm not saying 7 seconds, give us 8 seconds of who you are and what you do. If you can do it in 8 seconds. Chris, you go last, no particular order. I'm going to start with Kim. You're muted, okay.
Good morning, everybody.
They just keep talking.
And my business is pearl and accessories. I have beautiful pearl and sterling silver jewelry, and my website is pearl-and.com.
Perfect, thank you. Kim, put it in the chat. Let us know how to find you. We got Ken.
Good morning. Ken Fainer, the Social Glue, social media marketing and email marketing that sticks. We help our customers get found on social media and found in the inbox.
Perfect. Good to see you. Welcome back, Kim. We got Maxine Barnett all the way from Berkeley, California.
Hello, good morning. I am Maxine, your executive coach. If you are looking to hone your soft skills, I am the person. Contact me at softskillservices.com.
Perfect. Thank you. Oh, Chris, real quick. Maxine was on our call that you and I were on Thursday.
Yes.
So you can put a face to the name. So perfect. Thank you, Maxine.
Yes, Coach Chris. Yes.
Kathy.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Kathy Bethune with Banco ZK, a commercial banker. We provide financial services and solutions to business owners and consumers. Kathy Bethune, Banco ZK. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Welcome back, Tracy.
Hey, good morning. I'm Tracy Wells with Farmers Insurance in Grayson. We're your go-to agency for your commercial insurance needs, your life insurance, and your personal lines insurance.
Perfect. Thank you, Tracy. We got Andrea, Miss Andrea George.
Good morning, everyone. Andrea George with Rapid Gourmet. We are taking you around the world, one plate at a time, feed you, please, and provide gourmet gifts throughout the country. Please check us out at rapidgourmetonline.com or check us on IG. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss George. We got Renee Creighton.
Good morning, everyone. This is Renee Creighton with RLC Hospitality and Travel. We provide sales and marketing remotely for Covington and Conyers properties, hotel properties. It's not just a room, it's not just a meeting room, but it's a guest experience.
Perfect. Thank you. That sounds good. We got the guy who just celebrated his birthday over the weekend, Dexter.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Tell us who you are, Dexter.
Dexter Johnigan, Phoenix Mortgage, residential mortgage broker.
Perfect. Thank you, Dexter. We got Rose Lovelace. I don't know if Rose can hear me. All right, we'll come back to Rose. Oh, there you go, Rose.
I'm here.
There you go, Rose.
I'm Rose Lovelace with Pathmedic, where we bring healthcare to your comfort level. We do medical supplies and equipment, and we also do home health aids, and I'm also a real estate broker. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. And we got your better half on who just chimed in, my good friend, brother Jack. Jack, tell us who you are. Tell us something your wife didn't tell us about your business in 5 seconds. Unmute yourself, Jack. All right. There you go, Jack.
I don't know what she said.
Tell us who you are, Jack, in 7 seconds.
What was the question?
Tell us who you are, your business.
Oh, I can't hear you.
All right. Tell us your business. Who are you, Jack? Who are you? Can you hear me, Jack?
I'm having some trouble. Hello?
There you go, Jack. Can you hear me, Jack?
I can hear you now.
All right, give us your business in 5 seconds.
Okay, I'm gonna represent today's Silver Circle Realty.
All right, real estate agent.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, we're gonna go with Eartha. Okay, Eartha, you gotta unmute yourself, Eartha. There you go.
Hi, good morning. I'm Eartha with Postkeeper CPR. We provide training for people. Eartha with Postkeeper CPR.
Perfect. In case somebody out here, CPR training through everybody. Miss Elia. Hola, come on and
Good morning,
stop.
everyone.
Good morning.
Muy bien, ¿cómo está usted? My name is Elia Espiu, and I am with Bold Ministries. We serve children from 5 to 18 years old, free. And now we are beginning to feed children from 0 to 12 months. So if you know of anyone that needs baby food, formula, that's me, Elia Espiu, Bold Ministries.
Thank you. And everybody knows me, Sinclair. I'm your speaker and business trainer. Well, I tell you, I'm happy and excited to introduce everyone to Coach Chris. Coach Chris is the sales coach guru. I've met Coach Chris at it was a Cobb referral program, and we struck up a great conversation. And then he and I was on a call the other day on Thursday with Couture Conversations with Tawana Woods, and then we did a follow-up. So Chris brings in a lot of experience when it comes to sales and coaching. I want to say, Chris, I know, correct, I'm probably wrong. Are you from the Chicago area? You're from Chicago area, Midwest. So Coach Chris does a lot of work. So Chris, the floor is yours. And if everyone could mute yourself, please, except for Chris. That way there's no static or background. Chris, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Sinclair. And his whole approach to doing this, the introductions, is fascinating because I can't write that fast. So I'm sitting here getting writer's cramp, trying to write things down. But my name is Coach Chris. I'm with CM Consulting, and I get to help small to medium business owners who are self-managing sales and shouldn't be. I get to I'm a part-time sales manager for hire, so I can come in and help coach you, your team, and help you to understand a little bit better about sales and coaching and things like that. What we talked about, and what I thought would be a really good idea, is trying to overcome objections. And I think a lot of times we have the wrong idea of overcoming objections. We think we want to overcome them when it's too late. We've gotten to the point where, okay, we're ready to talk about how much it is that we provide for our service. So I throw out a number, and that number is, I'm going to throw out $1,000. It's $1,000, and all of a sudden they go, wow, that's too much. I wasn't expecting that. I'm going to get 3 other prices, right? And we start, the litany of objections comes up, right? I need to check with, I need to talk to, right? I need to do this, I need to do that. The problem is that we wait too long and that we really don't build the value on the front end. And so we're going to have a discussion about this because I really want to get your feedback, and we'll talk about this. But the way we do that is initially by building value. So for instance, when I have conversations with people about what I do and how I do it, for instance, I do a business audit. When I do a business audit, I'm building the value of that business audit. I'm talking about all the things that I do for that business audit, what that contains, the 100+ page report that I'm going to print out, the executive valuation that I'm going to do, and summary, and then how much time I will take with them on the front end and then on the back end to explain that executive summary to them. And then, and this is where it gets kind of interesting, and I think that it really builds value, is when we say, and I only charge so much for this. Now, that can be a value statement, right? When we build up the value so much so that the price becomes insignificant, then we've done our jobs, right? And that's what I wanted to talk about, is we get to this point where too often we want to lead with how much it costs, right? Unfortunately, we get stuck in that rut. When I was in heating and air conditioning, and I did that for about 17 years, I'd meet with homeowners, people just like yourself, right? I'd come in, we'd sit down, and sometimes the very first thing that people want to say is, well, how much is it? Okay, hold on, we'll get there. No, how much is it, right? And they keep pressing. Well, I can give them a price, but it's going to be wrong, right? I don't know how much it's going to be because I haven't done a proper evaluation. It's like going into a doctor's office and saying, well, what's wrong with me, doc? and they haven't asked you any questions. Giving a diagnosis before you understand what's wrong with the patient is called malpractice. Same thing in our businesses. If we're out there throwing out prices for things that we do, that would be, it would be malpractice for Ken to say, yeah, it costs $300 for you to reevaluate everything and change your marketing. Really? It's only going to cost $300? He hasn't even done an assessment of my business and what I need and what I want. So I'm not trying to pick on Ken. Ken just happened to be, the social glue. So I picked on him for a second. But so when I say that, does that make sense to everybody here? Does everybody does it ring true? When you say, hey, I get all these objections, so let's do this. I'm gonna pick on somebody for a second. Tracy, when you go to meet with somebody and somebody says, well, can you give me just a price for this? Or when you give them a price, what are the objections that you run up against?
It's too high.
It's too high, okay.
Pretty much that's it. It's too high.
Okay. Now here's a question. How do you build value for you and your business?
Well, I just try to sell them on the expertise that we bring, and just separate myself, especially in the insurance industry. We still do it the old-fashioned way. We don't do call centers. So
Good.
Usually I'll point that out and say, hey, if you're dealing with a person in a call center, he's probably 22, 23 years old, just got their license, versus somebody that's been doing it 26 years. We're going to do it the right way. You're not going to have to come back to me later and have me fix it. That's going to cost you more money.
Yep, that's a good point. And that's tough. Now, insurance is a commodity, right? Because everybody has it, everybody can get it. But is it really a commodity?
Not at this point, because it's been turned into more of a transaction.
Yep. Yeah, and so Tracy, you're doing a great job. Build that value on the front end, right? All right. I'm looking around the room. Kathy, in banking, how do you separate yourself from the person down the street, right? Because there's banks on every corner. We can't. I can't hear you. Is it just me?
I'm sorry, you can hear me
There
now?
you go. There you go. Yep.
All right, so exactly. One of the things that we do is we build connections and partnerships. We want to be a financial partner. I don't just want to be a bank where you walk in your number. I want to know who you are. I want you to know who I am. You're able to pick up the phone, and I am at any moment, and say, Kathy, if you have a need that I'm not aware of, and I'm constantly checking in with my clients. So that's one of the things that's important to us. We don't want to sell you anything. We do need-based. So we want to understand the need that you have as a business client. I'm not trying to push a particular product on you. All banks have the same primarily products and services, but the difference is that connection and having that partnership.
Yep, and that's a great point.
We build value,
Yep. Sorry, Kathy, I didn't cut you off. That's a great point. And one of the things that we should all be doing, right? We should all be building the relationships, because people want to buy from someone they know, like, and trust, right? That's huge. So how do we separate ourselves? Tracy, Kathy, same thing. We build a relationship, right? We're there, in the good weather and the bad. We're there all the time for them. We're not just there when they need us. We're not just there when they say, oh, hey, now I need a banker. Who do I call? You're there because you're reaching out to them. You have a friendship with them, right? You're developing a relationship with that person, and they want to do business with you. And that's how you separate. That's how you build value. Go ahead, Kathy.
And they also know that you're going to take care of their business as well. You're going to get it done. They're not going to have to wonder in a day or two, was this completed? They will know that it's completed.
Exactly.
So I'm going to make sure that they're aware that it has been. Exactly.
I've got a pen. Okay, it's a short pen, right? It's a very small pen. You guys don't know this. I'm 6'5". Okay, so my hands are not small. All right, so this thing fits in the size in the palm of my hand very easily, as opposed to a regular pen. Okay, big difference, right? I don't know if you guys can see that because of my background, right? So here, let me do this. I'm gonna turn off the virtual background so you guys can actually see. And I do apologize for this. So There we go. All right. So back to the visual aid, right? All right. So here I have 2 pens, right? Big difference in size. So why do I like this pen? What is it about this pen that I really enjoy? Yeah, it's small, right? But look, see the little tip on it? I can use it on my phone, right? I can use it on my touch screen. But wait, it's also got a flashlight on it, right? That's kind of cool. How often I use the flashlight? Never, but it's really cool, right? So I have it. But this, I can build the value of this all day long, right? Because of the little features that it has on it. So again, I'm building a value, right? I'm talking about not the features, but the benefits. I get to use this for my touch tone on my phone or my touch screen on my phone, right? I get to use this because I'm digging in my purse, right? Ladies, I'm digging in my purse. I can't quite see just right. So I need this, right? Or guys, we're looking at something. We need to add a little value to things, right? So let's keep going around. Mr. Jack, you got to speak very briefly earlier. How do you build value with what you're doing? You said you do real estate, right?
Yes, we have a real estate firm.
Okay.
Recently, we changed our model. We're building our value through networking with other agencies in other states.
Okay. So do you build value by bringing in other partners?
Yes, exactly.
Right? So you can build value because I'm a one-stop shop, right? You don't need to go get a closing attorney. You don't need to go get a mortgage broker, right? You don't need to go on and do all these other things. By the way, we can help you because I have connections with all those other people, right?
That's correct.
And that's a great way to build value for what you do, right? If you can be the one-stop shop, right?
Hey, Chris, I got a question for you.
Sure.
I know, I don't know if anybody has this on their mind. I know when I was in sales with ADT, can you explain the difference between building value, between value, benefit, and feature? What's the same and what's different? Because I think some people may have things that it may be confused because, maybe folks here may know, but, this goes out to
No,
thousands of people.
it's a great question. And I think people struggle with this a lot, right? We want to talk about, hey, I got this little soft point on my pen. That's a feature, right? That doesn't benefit me. The difference between a feature and a benefit is the feature is what the item does. The benefit is what's in it for me. What does it do for me? How does that benefit, that's the word, me, right? How does it bring value to what I do? So that's why when we talk about building value, we're talking about building the benefits, right? So for this pen, I have a nice little soft spot on my pen so that it can do the touch screen on my phone. How does that benefit me? Well, I get tired of using my finger. Maybe I scratch my finger or I cut my finger, and now I've got I've got owie on my finger, right? It makes it easier for me when I want to do my phone or my tablet or whatever I'm using. It has a flashlight on. Again, who cares? What's in it for me? What does that do for me? This can help you. Ladies, when you're in a jam and you can't see in your purse, it's late at night and you're out and about, pull out your pen, turn on your flashlight. Now you can see inside your purse, right? And it's small and it's you can put it in a small pocket, right? You can keep it in your front pocket and it's not gonna hurt you when you sit down, right? How many guys, how many of you carry a pen in your pocket? And how many of you get hurt by that pen or pencil in your pocket? I did that once or twice. It hurt me too many times. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not keeping it in my pocket, right? So the difference between a feature is what does it do? And the benefit is what's in it for me. In other words, how does that help me to do my job or to do my activity or whatever it is, okay? But by adding benefits, in other words, if you've ever heard the term, I'm sure, has everybody heard the term WIFM? What's in it for me? That's what that stands for, WIFM. What's in it for me, right? And so what that means is, how does that help me? Dexter, how does what you do help me? I don't care. You've got a certain product. You've got a, let's see, Dexter, I wrote it down. You're a mortgage broker, right?
Yes.
And so I have a specific time when I need to talk to Dexter, right? I'm not going to talk to Dexter every single day, but Dexter has a specific need that he can fill for me. So how does what Dexter does, and Dexter, can you answer the question? What's in it for me? What's the value that you bring to the table to help me out when I need to go and buy a house?
The value that I bring is just, it's not just a transaction. A lot of times people just want to pull your credit and tell me what, but it's more of a learning experience for me to teach you the process and to make sure you understand, you know, what the process entails, because sometimes it might be their first house, it may be their third house, but they haven't did one in 10 years. And a lot of things have changed since that time. So it's more about, you know, teaching them the process and what they should be expecting during that process.
Perfect. And educating people is so critical to building value and overcoming objections, right? Because that's really what it is. When we build the value by educating people, we overcome the objections. They no longer are objections. If you have a consistent objection in your business, right, every single time, and I'm not talking about just price, because price is just an excuse for people to say, no, I don't want to do business with you. Okay. By the way, that's what objections really are. They're an excuse for people not to do business with you. You haven't built enough value, so they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to do business with you. They don't want to hurt your feelings and say, no, I don't want to work with you. They say, well, it's too expensive. I need to talk to so-and-so, right? I need to do some more research. I need to do this. I need to do that, right? Kim has a very specific business. It's about jewelry, right? And so she has people that come to her for specific things. Kim, do you make special made jewelry?
No, I don't make it. That is one of my plans. One of my goals is to make my own jewelry.
Okay. So when you start doing that, right, you'll have custom pieces. You probably still have custom pieces, but you get them from certain individuals. But you probably, how do you differentiate yourself from the person, like, for instance, for me, my neighbor right across the street, she does jewelry and she makes it herself. I hear her out there all the time making her jewelry. So how do you differentiate what you do from what she does, right?
Right. Right now, I am, it's just e-commerce. So I have a supplier, but eventually, I guess what makes you stand out is if you're going to have a unique item, have your own spin on it, and then it's all about marketing and creating relationships.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. Yep. So it's all important, you know, when we educate people about what we do and how we do it, and then what's in it for them. We build the value, and price it doesn't become an objection anymore. So, what I was going to say is, so when you're building, if you sit down now and you say, what are the major objections that I get, other than price? Because price is always going to be an objection no matter who you talk to. But if you have a consistent objection, how do you overcome that? First thing, build value around it. Second thing, talk about it on the front end, in the beginning of your conversation, right? When I was doing heating and air sales, one of the things I would tell people is, hey, you know what? We've got systems anywhere from 8 to 18,000. It really just depends on what your budget is and what you want to spend. Now, the nice thing is we also have financing, so we can do anything from $100 to $200 a month, right? It just depends on what your budget is. So we'll get there. We'll talk about it as soon as we get to the evaluation stage, and I go through and I have to evaluate system in a home and that kind of stuff. As soon as I find that out, then we can get you a price, right? So now I'm taking that off the table. There's no longer that conversation of, well, it's too expensive. I already told you it's going to be between 8 and 18. Hey, Twana, we're going to bring Twana on here in a second because she's going to talk about building value too. We got about 3 minutes.
How many value statements or value propositions, if you want to call it, Chris, should we have? Does it depend on what we're providing or what?
It really does. And it's really important. I think, again, list out the objections that you're getting. When you list out those objections, you'll know the value statements you need to bring. But I would tell you, if you're not building value at least 10 times before you even get to the price, you haven't done your job. And by building value, it's kind of like what Sinclair was talking about, is you've got to talk about how you are different than everybody else. You got to talk about your product being different. You got to talk about what is in it for the customer, right? You got to talk about the things that make you different and that your product is different or your service is different. And when you talk about those things about 10 times, at least 10 times before, you've built value enough to overcome most of those objections. But write down the objections that you have. You know what they are. You hear them out every day. Write down the objections. And how do I overcome that one? Write down an objection. How do I overcome it? Write it down. How do I overcome, right? It becomes this whole feature benefit type of thing, right? Here's the feature, now the benefit, right? So the feature is the objection and the benefit is your answer or the value that you bring to the table. Okay.
Wonderful.
Trial closing, as Tawana said. Yep, it's trial closing all the way through. You ask little questions along the way that make sense and basically get people to say, yes, I'm interested in doing that. Yes, I want to do that. Yes, I want your service. Absolutely. Thank you, Tawana. All right. Any other questions? I know we're limited on time here, but are there any other questions that anybody has?
Questions, comments? Feel
Ken
free.
looks like he wants to say something.
In regards to, like you said, the malpractice, I was in sales for about 20 some years in financial services. And, that's one of the things that people just don't want to do. They don't want to be interviewed. And, one of the things that I do now, I have a series of questions I ask clients, and they're like, well, why are you asking me all these questions? Don't you just want my social security number and my date of birth so you can pull my credit? But I'm like, it's more than that. During my question, I might ask you, how much savings do you have? Well, why are you asking that? Because you still need a down payment and closing costs. If you tell me you got $2,000, we're going to have to look at something else, outside of just, going in, looking at, a $300,000 house because you don't have the assets to actually close that deal. So, it's real important that you do that interview and then properly diagnose whatever product or service that you need to get that client.
Yep, that's good. And again, we have to figure out, I used to have a series of questions too, just like Dexter, right? I have a series of questions and it's awkward when you come into somebody's home for the first time, you're just meeting them and then you go, hey, I want to sit down and have a bunch of questions, a series of questions for you. You got to figure out how to be conversational about that, right? It's dependent upon your business and what you're doing, right? It may be very normal for Kim to, when a customer comes to her and says, hey, I want to engage with you and I want you to do some business, and I want to talk about some of the jewelry. It's natural for her to say, what are you looking for? Do you want it this way or do you want it that way? Do you want a ring? Do you want a pendant? Do you want a right? Do you want, and it's very natural for her to ask the questions that help to get back to what she's looking for and help her to build the value through doing those questions as well. Kathy, looks like you had a question.
Oh, no, not really. I think one of the things for me is, like Dexter said, you have to really pre-position your client or your customer for what you're going to ask and let them know that you have a series, and I'm sure he does that. But I tell customers, in order for me to make the best recommendation that's going to benefit you, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, however you want to say that, but pre-position them for that. When a client comes in, banks used to be very reactive. A client would come in and say, I'd like to do a checking account, open up a checking account. We would lay out a brochure and say, well, we have 5 different checking accounts. Which one do you want? And now we're more reactive. That was in the early 70s and 80s. Now we're proactive in terms of making sure that we ask those questions so we can make that recommendation based on how the client does their banking and understanding who they are. So we pre-position them and let them know that I'm going to ask you some questions in reference to your banking services and needs so I can understand and make the best recommendation for you. And ultimately, they still need to make that decision, but based on what they share with me, based on my questions, then we can make sure that they're in the appropriate account. And if for some reason initially that account benefits them and things change over a period of time as years progress, people needs change. So we can always make that adjustment during that time, when that time does come.
Perfect. Yep. And Kathy, you did exactly what we were just talking about, right? You took an objection that was happening all the time or a question that always came up and you positioned it with value. You said, hey, we offer 6 different options or 5 different options of checking accounts. We've got 3 different types of savings accounts. What would you like to do, right? How would you like to position? And that's great. Positioning it, absolutely. You're building
Well,
value.
no, I don't. Yes, well, I don't tell you that we have 5 or 6 different checking accounts. You know, I kind of ask the questions. I say we did that back in the early
Gotcha.
70s and 80s. And so
Gotcha.
now I don't tell them, look, we have a series, we have 5 checking accounts that we offer. I need to understand their needs to make the recommendation based on that appropriate account. I'm not going to lay out a menu for them.
No, perfect. No, and you're right. And it depends on how you want to position that, but you're right. You can just say,
Yeah.
hey, you know what, we've got a number of different options that are available. I need to understand your needs going forward. So let me ask you, you know, how do you do this? What are you looking for on that? Absolutely. Oh, good point. Good point. Sorry, I misunderstood that.
Oh, that's okay.
Anybody got any other questions real quick before we let Chris go? He has a meeting at 10 o'clock, so I want to be very mindful of his time. Go ahead, Tawana.
Right here, real quick. Sorry, guys. I was putting out fires this morning, so y'all can't see me. Coach Chris, have a quick question, and you already maybe you covered it, but an objection that comes often, especially for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, is pricing. Like once you have given that price, I know rate is always a big objection, and I'm dealing with something right now, which is I'm giving them my price, which is already discounted, and then they're like, well, give me this rate. So let's just say if you've priced somebody 2,000 and they say, well, I want it for 1,000. Well, I have to justify my full cost to get to 2,000. Shouldn't they justify how they get to their 1,000? Or how do you overcome that objection when people just give you a number?
Right. Yeah. So when I was in heating and air, and I'm obviously I'm a coach now, so I know exactly what Tawana's talking about. But yeah, Tawana, we did talk a little bit about that beforehand, about how to build value beforehand. But for instance, in heating and air, and by the way, I'm going to dispel the myth right now. Heating and air systems do not cost $5,000. Okay. Everybody thinks, hey, it's $5,000. So whenever I would go into somebody's home, they would say, oh, well, I thought it would be $5,000. And it may be, like I said, it could be 8 to 18. So the key there is asking a couple of questions. One, where are you getting the information from? Right? Why not ask it? I mean, if they're going to throw it out there, why not ask it? It's a tough question. It's one that we don't feel comfortable asking sometimes, right? But where are you basing that off of, right? Kim could say that and say, well, what are you basing that? You're saying this is worth $10. I'm saying it's worth 20, right? Or 50 or 100, whatever the price is, right? Doesn't matter. But what are you basing that on? Well, I heard from, oh, okay, well, I appreciate that. But, you know, here's what we do. And you 20, you have to go back and build the value. You have to go back and not justify, but you have to build the value on what you're doing, right? I'm offering this. And when you offer those, like I said, if you're building the value 10 times, you really shouldn't have a price objection. It should kind of take care of itself. Does that answer your question, Tawana?
Yes, it does. It's just, even though you build a value, individuals will give you that number and you're justifying why you price it, like you said, but then I want them to justify to me, seem like the answer that they should be giving me.
Yeah, and absolutely. It's a tough question, but don't be afraid to ask the question. What are you basing that off of?
And, you know, real quick, if I can chime in before we end, sometimes,
Absolutely.
you know, Chris and I, we've talked on other days, sometimes you have to tell the client no. You know, if they want to lowball you and you can't justify, you may have to say, you know what, it's been great doing, you know, thank you for the opportunity. And they will go somewhere else and pay probably either what they have in mind or pay more and not get the service that you would have provided. I think no matter what, everyone is always going to try to lowball somebody to some degree. But what I want to do, I know, Chris, you got to go. I know we got a few folks that came in. So I want to give you 7 seconds to really tell us your name and your company. Like I said, no particular order, how you came in. I'm going to start with Michelle Alexander. How are you doing?
Everyone, how are you all? Good to see you again. I'm Michelle Alexander with HAM Financial, helping you plant your money tree.
Thank you so much. We got Miss Smith.
Good morning, Tawanya Smith with Right Choice Motors in Covington, Georgia.
Thank you. And Miss Tawana Woods.
Good morning, Tawana Woods with Icebreakers Unlimited. We would love to break ice with your sales team. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I don't think I missed anyone. But I want to thank everybody for your time and your energy and your questions. Like I said, this will be up on YouTube later on today. You'll also be getting an additional video. I'm working on that. So Chris, thank you so much for giving us some great information. If you can, Chris, close us out in about 1 minute. Don't forget to put your contact information on there so people who want to take their sales, create the sales process for a whole nother level, how they get in contact with you.
Thanks. Yeah, the easiest thing is if you text Coach Chris, all one word, to 21,000. I did put that in the chat. You get my digital business card and you'll see all my social media, all that other stuff. That's the best way to reach out to me. And, just in summary, build the value. Just continue to build the value. You guys are doing a great job. You're doing the business that you love to do. Build the value about why you do the things you do to help your customers and clients out. You'll do great. You'll overcome the objections.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody. Everybody have a good day. Please stay out of that Georgia heat. Remember, air conditioning, and stay hydrated. See you guys next week.
Thank you, Coach Chris.
Bye.